Tencent is one of the most powerful companies on Earth, yet for most people outside China, it remains largely invisible. While names like Apple, Google, Microsoft, and Meta dominate headlines in the West, Tencent has quietly built an empire that rivals and in many ways surpasses each of them. Its influence stretches across communication, entertainment, finance, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, gaming, and global investments. To understand how this happened, you have to start not with a flashy Silicon Valley founder, but with a quiet engineer from southern China who preferred building systems over chasing attention. In the late 1990s, the global tech world was obsessed with figures like Bill Gates, and companies like Google were only just emerging. At the same time, in the rapidly changing city of Shenzhen, a young engineer named Ma Huateng was working on something far more modest, a simple online chat service inspired by ICQ, the popular messaging platform of the era. The product was originally called OICQ, and almost no one outside China noticed it. There were no headlines, no grand ambitions, and no talk of revolution. Yet that small chat program would eventually evolve into Tencent, a company that now touches the daily lives of more than 1 billion people. Ma Huateng, often called Pony Ma, grew up far from the traditional centers of technology. Born in Guangdong province, he came of age during a period when China was only beginning to open its economy. Computers were rare, internet access was almost non-existent, and there were no startup playbooks to follow. What Ma developed instead was patience, observation, and a deep understanding of systems. When his family moved to Shenzhen in the 1980s, he witnessed firsthand how government policy, infrastructure, and technology could transform a city almost overnight. Shenzhen's rapid growth would later become a living blueprint for how Tencent itself would expand. Unlike many Western tech founders who cultivated bold public personas, Ma remained deliberately low profile. He studied computer science, worked in telecommunications, and learned how large-scale communication networks functioned behind the scenes. These early experiences shaped his philosophy. Technology, in his view, was not about flashy innovation for its own sake, but about reliability, scale, and integration into everyday life. When Ma and 3 friends formally founded Tencent in 1998, the timing was far from ideal. Asia was still recovering from a financial crisis, internet companies were burning cash, and investors were wary. The team had little money, no business experience, and no clear monetization strategy. What they did have was a growing user base. QQ, the renamed version of OICQ after legal pressure from AOL, spread rapidly across China. It worked better for Chinese language users than foreign alternatives, and it felt local, personal, and accessible. But popularity did not equal profit. By the year 2000, Tencent was close to running out of money. Advertising barely worked, subscriptions were unpopular, and Chinese users were not accustomed to paying for online services. This moment defined Tencent's future. Instead of abandoning the product or selling the company, Ma doubled down on understanding user behavior. He noticed that users were emotionally attached to QQ in a way Western users were not attached to email or messaging tools. QQ was not just software, it was a social identity. This insight led to one of Tencent's most important breakthroughs: virtual goods. Starting with customizable avatars and digital accessories for QQ's penguin mascot, Tencent created an entirely new revenue model. These items cost almost nothing to produce, yet carried immense social value. Users willingly paid small amounts to express status, personality, and belonging. This virtual economy expanded into digital gifts, memberships, and premium features, generating high margins and stable income. Long before the West embraced in-app purchases and digital cosmetics, Tencent had already perfected the model. With financial stability secured, Tencent began expanding outward. Gaming became the next frontier. Rather than building everything from scratch, Tencent licensed successful games, integrated them directly into QQ, and leveraged its massive social network for distribution. This strategy kept costs low and adoption high. Games were no longer standalone products, they were social experiences tied directly to users' existing friend networks. Over time, Tencent transitioned from licensing to ownership, acquiring and investing in studios that would later dominate the global gaming industry. Today, Tencent is the largest gaming company in the world, with stakes in Riot Games, Epic Games, Supercell, Ubisoft, and many others. Titles like League of Legends and Fortnite are not just entertainment products, they are global cultural platforms. Gaming revenue became one of Tencent's strongest pillars, keeping users engaged for hours and embedding Tencent deeper into everyday digital life. In 2004, Tencent went public, raising capital while maintaining its cautious, long-term approach. Instead of chasing rapid expansion at all costs, the company focused on ecosystems. Small investments, constant experimentation, and deep integration became its signature strategy. This mindset would soon be tested by the biggest technological shift of the decade, the rise of smartphones. As mobile usage exploded, Tencent faced an existential threat. Desktop-based QQ was losing relevance, and foreign apps like WhatsApp were gaining momentum globally. Internally, Tencent made a bold and risky decision. Instead of protecting QQ at all costs, it allowed a small internal team to build a completely new product from scratch. That product became WeChat. Launched quietly in 2011, WeChat started as a simple mobile messaging app, but it was designed with a much larger vision. Voice messaging solved a major usability problem for Chinese users, making communication effortless. Growth was explosive. Within a year, WeChat had millions of users, and Tencent realized it was no longer just building an app, it was building an operating system for daily life. Over time, WeChat absorbed functions that in the West are handled by dozens of separate platforms. Messaging, social media, payments, shopping, transportation, work tools, entertainment, and even government services all converged into a single interface. Mini programs allowed third-party apps to run inside WeChat without downloads, creating a platform within a platform. WeChat Pay transformed how money moved, turning QR codes into a national payment standard and reducing reliance on cash and credit cards. For Chinese users, WeChat became infrastructure. It was not optional. Life without it became increasingly difficult. This level of integration brought unmatched convenience, but also raised serious concerns about privacy, data concentration, and corporate power. Tencent found itself operating at the intersection of technology, society, and government policy. As Tencent grew, so did scrutiny. Gaming addiction, data control, and platform dominance became national issues. Rather than resisting regulation, Tencent adopted. It implemented usage limits, identity verification systems, and content moderation at massive scale. Thousands of employees and advanced AI systems were deployed to comply with evolving rules. While these measures were costly, they allowed Tencent to survive periods of intense regulatory pressure that wiped out hundreds of billions in market value. Internationally, Tencent expanded through investments rather than direct confrontation. By taking minority stakes in hundreds of companies across gaming, music, film, social media, cloud computing, and AI, Tencent built a global radar system. These investments provided financial returns, strategic insight, and early exposure to emerging trends without triggering the backlash that often accompanies direct expansion. Today, Tencent operates across consumer technology, enterprise services, artificial intelligence, cloud infrastructure, smart cities, and global entertainment. Its AI research competes with top Western labs. Its cloud services support businesses across multiple continents. Its platforms influence how people communicate, play, pay, and live. Tencent's story challenges traditional narratives about innovation. It shows that being first is less important than building systems that scale, adapt, and integrate deeply into human behavior. It also raises difficult questions about power, responsibility, and the future of digital life. Tencent is neither purely a villain nor simply a success story. It is a reflection of how technology evolves when culture, government, and business incentives align. What began as a simple chat service in a small Shenzhen office has become one of the most influential technology empires in history. And whether you recognize its name or not, Tencent's quiet presence is shaping the digital world you live in right now.